Hi buddies. So what I would be teaching you in this video is the basics of digital electronics. So I personally feel a programmer is not complete until he knows the basics of these digital electronics concepts. That is why I thought I would make this video and teach you few things related to digital electronics, including binary conversions and converting from decimal to binary to decimal and stuff like that, including your complements and how to subtract using complement method and all that. Okay, having said that, the first question I would like to ask you is, okay, the very first question which I would like to ask you is, what is a computer memory? What is a computer memory? Okay, so there, do you know, can you explain what is a computer memory? Have any answer?
It's a storage for information.
Okay, so I know this is a very basic question, but understanding what is a memory is very important for any programmer, because the whole programming language or any whole programming deals with memory. Okay, so what is a computer memory? It is nothing but memory is a storage space to store data and instruction. Okay, so having said that, memory can be classified into two types. Memory, I repeat, memory can be classified into two types. Okay, so what are they? First one is the primary memory and the second one is the secondary memory. So what is the difference between primary memory and secondary memory? So to explain the difference between primary memory and secondary memory, I would take a analogy of a person who is trying to edit his resume. Okay, assume he is using his desktop to edit his resume. Okay, there are two scenarios over here. The first scenario is that he is halfway done with the resume. Meanwhile, even before he is saving the resume, what happens is that the power goes off. When the power goes off, okay, his desktop shuts down, and he forgot to save his resume. After 30 minutes, when the power comes back, he would resume the computer, he would switch on his computer and tries to search for his resume. Do you think it will be available? It is not available. The reason is that when he was editing his resume, the data of that resume, right, the resume data was present on the primary memory, that is on the RAM. Okay, whereas now I will discuss about this, the second scenario. The second scenario is that this guy who was editing his resume, okay, was just before the power went off, just before the power goes off, what he did was he saved his resume. The moment he saved his resume, what happened? Okay, instead of the data that was present on the RAM was bought into the hard disk and that got stored over there. Okay, and then the power went off, and then after 30 minutes, say, the power came back and he started he switched on his computer once again, and he tried to search for his resume and it was there on his hard disk. Okay, so there are two scenarios, the first scenario and the second scenario. In the first scenario, this guy, while editing his resume, did not save the resume. In the second scenario, this guy actually saved the resume. So the difference between these two scenarios is that when you don't save, the data is still present on the RAM, and the data which is there on the RAM will be there only till the power is there. It means if the power is there, the data on the RAM is there. Once the power goes off, the data from the RAM vanishes. Whereas in the second case, when the power is there, when you saved on the hard disk, no matter whether the power is there or not, the data would be permanently stored on the hard disk. So that is the difference between primary memory and secondary memory. The data in the primary memory is temporary. The data on the hard disk, that is the secondary memory, is permanent. Okay, so the example for primary memory, as I said in the previous slide, the primary memory is a temporary memory and the example for that is a RAM. Whereas in the secondary memory is a permanent memory and the example for that is the hard disk. Fine. Having said this, now hope you are clear with your memory concepts, right?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Now let us move on to the next one, right? Now, what is the next one? Let us start learning some basic units. Okay, we should know how to measure memory. So before that, I'll give you some analogy over here. The first question to you is, okay, how do you measure rice? Looks crazy question, but yes, to learn how to measure memory before learning the units of memory, right? I thought, let me give you an analogy of our basic things that we do in our day-to-day life. Okay, so the question goes like this: how do you measure rice? Okay, you measure rice in the units called kgs. We buy 1 kgs of rice, 2 kgs of rice, 3 kgs of rice, like that. Okay, similarly, how do you measure milk? We measure milk using the unit liters. Okay, 1 liter of milk, 2 liter of milk, 3 liter of milk, and so on. Similarly, how do you measure clothes? We measure clothes using the unit meters. Okay, give me 10 meters of clothes, give me 15 meters of clothes, so on and so forth. Now, coming to the memory part, how do you measure memory? If suppose we want to buy memory from a computer center or from a computer sales shop or somewhere, okay, how do you measure it? We measure memory in terms of bytes. Give me 1 byte of memory, give me 2 byte of memory. But today's world is so advanced that we talk in terms of terabytes. Okay, it started from kbs, then mbs, and then gbs. Now it is tbs. Okay, so we measure memory in terms of bytes. Now, if I give you say 1 kg of rice, what does that actually mean? Okay, how much is 1 kg equal to? It is 1000 grams. Similarly, how much is 1 liter is equal to? 1 liter is equal to 1000 milliliters. Okay, how much is 1 meter? 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. Similarly, how much is 1 byte? 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. Right? 1 kg is equal to 100,000 grams. 1 liter is equal to 1000 milliliters. 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. And 1 byte of memory is equal to 8 bits. So 1 byte of memory is made up of 8 bits. Okay, represented in base 2 system, which I'll be explaining you in some time. Okay, now suppose, assume that I will give you a container. I will give you a container which can hold a maximum of 1 kg of rice, not more than that. It can hold 1 kg of rice. As you can see on the slide, there is a container of 1 kg. Right? Now, the question is, in this 1 kg container, can we store 250 grams of rice? Yes, it is possible. Right? Why? Because 250 grams is a small amount compared to 1 kg. Right? 1 kg is 1000 grams. Now, similarly, can we store 500 grams of rice in this 1 kg of container? Yes, of course, we can store, because 500 grams is less than 1000 grams, which makes 1 kg. Right? Similarly, can we store 750 grams of rice in 1 kg container? Of course, yes, even 750 grams is less than 1 kg. Now, can we store 1000 grams of rice in a 1 kg container? Of course, yes, even 1000 grams of rice can be stored in a 1 kg container. Whereas, okay, can we store 1200 grams of rice in 1 kg container? Absolutely no. You will not be able to store more than 1000 grams, because the maximum amount of the rice that can be stored in 1 kg is maximum 1000 grams, not more than 1000 grams. If I try to store more than 1 kg, that is, if I try to store 1200 grams, it overflows, it overpours, it pours down, because this 1 kg container has the maximum capacity to store only 1000 grams. Storing beyond 1000 grams will result in overflow or overpour, or it pours down, whatever you may call it. Okay, so hope you guys understood this. Now, let me actually move to the next one. Now, what is the next one? Which is the biggest number that can be represented using 1 byte of memory location? In the previous slide, we saw that in 1 kg of container, the maximum rice, the maximum amount of rice that could be stored is maximum is 1000 grams, not more than that. Similarly, if I give you 1 byte of memory location, not more than that, 1 byte of memory location, then what is the biggest number that we can store using 1 byte of memory location is the question. Okay, so to understand this, let us first understand how much is 1 byte of memory location. How do we represent it? Okay, now I said you that 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. Okay, how do you represent this 8 bits? Let me represent that using number 2 system. Okay, that is base 2 system, right? It starts from 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, 2 power 4, 2 power 5, 2 power 6, 2 power 7, 2 power, sorry, this is 2 power, like this, 2 power 7. So what happens here is that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you have 8 bits starting from 2 power 0 to 2 power 7. Now, what is the value of these? The value of these is 2 power 0 is 1, 2 power 1 is 2, 2 power 2 is 4, then it is 8, then it is 16, then it is 32, then it is 64, and then it is 128. Now, assume this is your 1 byte of memory location. Now, if suppose the previous question was that what is the biggest data that you can store using 1 byte of memory location? Before that, I will ask you one more question. Can we store the number 5 in 1 byte of memory location? Yes, it is possible. How? You can put a 1, that is, you can put a set bit over here near 4, just below 4, and then 1 near here. Okay, that is 4 plus 1, it becomes 5. So the remaining becomes 0. So yes, I can store 5 in this 1 bit of memory location. Now, can I store 129 in 1 bit of memory location? Yes, you can, because you can put a 1 here and a 1 here, remaining becomes 0. This is 129. So can I store 66 in 1 byte of memory location? The number 66. Yes, it is possible. You will have to put a 1 here and the 1 here. That is 1 here. Okay. The remaining becomes 0. The remaining becomes 0. So this is called as 64 plus 2, it becomes 66. 64 plus 2, yeah, 66, correct? Similarly, my question in the previous slide was, what is that biggest number that I can store in 1 byte of memory location? So the biggest value that I can store in 1 byte of memory location is all ones. That is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1. Okay, so if you add this, that is 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1. I'll repeat, 128 plus 64 plus 32 plus 16 plus 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1. This will result in 255. So you cannot store a data or a number bigger than 255 in 1 byte of memory location. Therefore, in 1 byte of memory location, you can store the biggest number that you can store is 255. Having said that, okay, then what is, if suppose I give you 1 extra byte? It means if I give you 1 extra byte, if I give you 2 bytes extra, if I give you 2 bytes, okay, then what is that biggest number or biggest value that you can store in 2 bytes of memory location? Okay, I will show you that. New. Okay, it is, if suppose I say 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, 2 power 4, 2 power 5, 2 power 6, 2 power 7. Okay, this makes 1 byte. Okay, from here starts another byte. 2 power 8, 2 power 9, 2 power 10, 2 power 11, 2 power 12, 2 power 13, 2 power 14, and 2 power 15. This makes another byte. Okay, see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It means that is 1 byte is equal to 8 bits, whereas 2 bytes is equal to 16 bits. Okay, so this contains 16 bits: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now, if you add these, if you start adding these, okay, each and every bit, plus, that is all becomes ones. Everything become 1. Everything become 1. If you add all this will result in a number 65,535. So that you must understand that in a 2 byte of memory location, the biggest data that you can store is 65,535. Therefore, if I give you 1 byte of memory location, the biggest or the maximum value that you can store is 255. And if I give you 1 extra byte, that is, if it is 2 bytes, then the maximum value that you can store is 65,535. This is, understanding this one is very important for you to learn the basics of digital electronics. That is the reason I actually showed you this very clearly. Okay, having said that, we'll move on to the next slide. Hope you guys understood this. Okay, so we will learn how to do some basic conversions. Okay, so the basic conversion is how to convert a decimal 17. Okay, we have given a decimal number. First of all, see, you must understand that you can represent a number in various number systems. Okay, you have a decimal number system, you have a binary number system, you have hexadecimal number system, you have octal number system. Okay, so these are the four number systems available in which you can represent your data. Okay, so normally in our real life, when we use numbers, we normally use it in decimal number system. Okay, say 1 2 3 4 17 18 19 20 25 and all those things. So but during your programming, okay, the computer can only understand binary numbers, not any other format, right? So it is always good, and it is always important for us to learn how to convert from one number system to another number system, and vice versa, so that you can do programming in a much better way. Okay, having said that, so I have shown you on the slide how to convert your decimal number system into binary number system, right? So the number that I've given you is 17. Okay, the number given is 17. Okay, let me actually try to solve it for you. Okay, now assume our problem is to convert from decimal system to binary number system, and the number given is 17. Okay, 17 is in the base 10. This is your decimal number system, base 10. Okay, I want to convert the 17 into binary. How do I do that? You have to continuously divide this number 17 by 2 and keep the remainder aside. So it means, if suppose, how do I do that? I keep the number here 17 and start dividing this by 2. Okay, 2 8s are 16. 2 8s are 16, but it is 17. It means there is a remainder of 1. Then I'll divide it again. 2 4s are 8. Okay, there is no remainder, 0. Then 2 2s are 4. So there is no remainder, 0. Okay, and then 2 1s are 2, and there is no remainder, 0. Okay, so now how do I convert this into binary? From here, from this format. Okay, so it is this 1, this 0, this 0, from the bottom towards up, this 0, and this 1. So this is nothing but your 17 in binary format. This is 17 in binary format, from decimal to your binary system. Okay, so if you want to convert your decimal number, okay, into binary format, then you have to, if you have to divide it by 2 continuously and keep the remainder aside, and from the bottom towards the top, take those numbers and keep it. That becomes your binary number. Hope you understood this. If I want to convert a number in binary, if I want to convert a number in binary to decimal, how do I do that? The reverse now. The previously I did from decimal to binary. Now I want to convert it from binary to decimal. How do I do? Okay, assume I have a number called as say I have 9. Okay, so how do I represent that in binary using binary number system? How do I represent 9? Okay, so I'll say 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 1. So this is basically a number which I've given you in binary, and I want to convert this into decimal. So if I want to convert this binary format into decimal format, I must multiply each digit in this binary format with 2 raised by its power. It means this can be written as, okay, from the right hand side, 1 multiplied by 2 to the power 0. Or let me write it from the rightmost part again, so that I'll have enough space to write this one. Okay, the final one. Okay, 1 multiplied by 2 to the power 0 plus the 0 0 multiplied by 2 to the power 1 plus again a 0 0 multiplied by 2 to the power 2 plus, okay, again I have 1 1 multiplied by 2 to the power 3 plus, then I have again 0 multiplied by 2 to the power 4, again plus 0 multiplied by 2 to the power 5 plus, then I have 0 multiplied by 2 to the power 6 plus again 0 multiplied by 2 to the power 7. Okay, so if this is what, this becomes what, 1 into 2 to the power 0 is 1, 2 to the power 0 is 1, 1 into 1, okay, plus this becomes 0, plus this becomes 0, plus 1, 2 to the power 3 is 8, so this becomes 1 into 8, plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0. So if you now if you add all this becomes 1 into 8 is 8, plus 1 into 1 is 1, so the result will become 9. So the equivalent, so this binary format is converted into decimal format 9. This is how you convert your binary number system into decimal number system. So let me repeat, if you want to convert your binary number system into decimal number system, you have to multiply each digit with 2 raised to its power from the right hand side, and you will actually get this answer. Now let me see how to do the next. I'll come to the slide now. Okay, now so we learned how to convert decimal to binary. Okay, so I will show you now the next binary to decimal, the same thing. Okay, as you can see, it has been multiplied with each of its bits from the right hand side, 1 into 2 power 0, 0 into 2 power 1, 0 into 2 power 2, and so on, and then finally add all those numbers one by one, and you will get the answer as 217 for the number, binary number that is shown on the slide. Hope you understood this conversion. Yeah. Now I'll move to the next slide. Now similarly, we have now in the first slide I converted decimal to binary. Okay, so I did a division of by I started dividing the number by 2. Okay, similarly, if I want to convert from a decimal to octal, then I have to divide that number continuously by 8. Okay, so for binary you divide it by 2, whereas for octal you divide it by 8 continuously and keep the remainder aside, so that you get the final answer. Okay, so in this slide I have a number called 100 in base 10, that is in decimal, and when I keep dividing it by 8 by keeping the remainder aside, so what happens is that from the bottom towards the top I get the final octal value as 144. Okay, so before this, let me tell you how to represent these numbers and all that. Okay, so that you get cleared with it. Okay, so how do you represent in decimal? How do you represent values in decimal? It is from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is in decimal. Okay, decimal 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are the digits that you can represent in decimal, followed by 10, 11, and continues. Now, how do you represent numbers in binary? In binary, you can represent only using zeros and ones. Okay. Now, how do you actually use your octal number system? In octal number system, tell me what are the what is the how many digits can you, how many numbers can you represent? It starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, followed by 10, 11, and then continues. Okay, there is no 8, 9, and all that. Now in hexadecimal, okay, it starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, followed by A, B, C, D, E, and F, where A indicates decimal 10, B indicates decimal 11, C indicates decimal 12, D indicates 13, E indicates 14, and F indicates 15. Okay, these are the different number systems that are available for us. Okay, so now having said that, okay, let's come back to the slide over here. So if you see, if I want to convert from decimal to octal, I divide a decimal number 100 by 8 continuously and keep the remainder aside, and then count it from the bottom, that is 144. So if I actually convert decimal to octal, okay, the value that I get in octal number system is 144. Hope you guys understand this. Okay, so you can take any example and solve it by yourself. It is a very easy thing to understand, right? Now let me move on to the next slide. The next slide is how do I convert from octal to decimal. octal to decimal, that is the reverse. Okay, now if you remember, how did I convert from binary to decimal? From the right hand side, I multiplied each digit with 2 raised to its power, 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1, and all that. The similar thing in octal to decimal, you have to, if suppose I give you an octal number 172, then each digit from the right has to be multiplied by 8 to raised 8, which is raised to its power. Okay, so 2 into 8 to the power 0, 7 into 8 to the power 1, and 1 multiplied by 8 to the power 2. Okay, which will result in 2, 56, and 64. When you add it together, you get 122. So 172 in octal is equal to 122 in decimal format. Okay, so this is octal to decimal format conversion, which is again very straightforward and very easy to follow. Okay, now let us move to the next slide, which is nothing but octal to binary. So let me just quickly recap what we learned from here. Okay, that is from where did the conversion start? From here. So first I converted from decimal to binary, where we divided by 2. Decimal to binary, we divide the decimal number by 2 continuously and read the remainders from the bottom in the reverse order, and we get this number. Okay, then from binary to decimal, we start multiplying each digit of the binary from the right hand side by multiplying by 2 raised to its power, and add everything final, and you get the final answer. Okay, that is the thing. Next, the next one, we converted from, we started doing the conversion from decimal to octal. Okay, so given a decimal number, I want to represent it in octal, so I started dividing by 8 continuously and keeping the remainder aside and reading it in the reverse order, so we get the final octal number. Then we did the reverse, that is we converted from octal to decimal, where an octal number is given and I use each digit from the right hand side and multiply with 8 raised to its power, and finally after finding the multiplication of each digits with 8 raised to its power, I add all those numbers to get the final decimal number. Okay, that is how we convert from octal to decimal. And then now we'll have to now do octal to binary. Okay, how do I convert from octal to binary? Very simple. It is, if suppose I have given you an octal number 25, if suppose I've given you an octal number 25. Okay, so 2 should be represented in binary, 5 must be represented in binary. Okay, and then see, if suppose I take out this 2 separately, 5 separately, and then I represent 2 in binary, which is nothing but 0, 1, 0, and then I represent 5 in binary, which is nothing but 1, 0, 1. Okay, so if you, after representing each individually in binary and then putting it together, 0, 1, 0 and 1, 0, 1 together, that forms the binary format of 25. Hope you got it. Okay, but here there is a question that you must ask me. The question is that, Subhash, why have you represented this number 2 and 5 only using 3 bits? Why is it only 3 bits and not more than that? The reason I have used only 3 bits is that any octal number, or that is, in an octal number, the maximum digit is 7, and to represent 7 you need only a maximum of only 3 bits. Okay, how is it? If you see this, this is your octal number system. Okay, so the biggest number in an octal number system is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is basically 7. And to represent 7, how many bits you need? You need maximum of only 3 bits. 1, 1, 1. How is it? This is 2 power 0, this is 2 power 1, and this is 2 power 2. Okay, so which is nothing but 2 to the power is 1, 2 to the power of 1, 2 to the power of 0 is 1, 2 to the power of 1 is 2, 2 to the power 2 is nothing but 4, 4 plus 2 plus 1 is basically 7. So 3 bits are enough for us to represent any octal octal number, and that is the reason I have used only 3 bits to represent, to represent the binary of each digits of octal. So if you want to convert from octal to binary, I repeat, take those individual numbers, convert that into binary, okay, format, and then attach together. That will become the binary representation of this octal number. Keep in mind, this 25 is not decimal, it is of base 8, therefore it is an octal number, and I have converted that to a binary number. Hope you understood this. Okay, so now let me move on to the next one. Now, before moving on to hexadecimal part, I just want to make one more thing clear, that In hexadecimal, the numbers are represented from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then followed by A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, and the biggest number that is represented in hexadecimal is 15, that is F. Okay, so to represent F in binary, how many bits do we need? We need a maximum of only 4 bits. We need a maximum of only 4 bits. So how do I do that? It is 1, 1, 1, 1. So how does this work? Okay, it is like this: 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1, 2 to the power 2, 2 to the power 3. Okay, so this 2 power 0 becomes 1, 2 power 1 becomes 2, 2 to the power 2 becomes 4, and 2 to the power 3 becomes 8. So if you add 8 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1, this becomes 15. So to represent the any hexadecimal digit or number, hexadecimal number, the maximum number of bits that we need in binary is 4 bits. Okay, so having said this, let me now come back to my slide. In the slide, the question is, how do I convert a decimal number to a hexadecimal number? So we have a decimal number 2545. Okay, so I have to convert this into hexadecimal format. Okay, how do I convert this into hexadecimal format? Like, how did we convert decimal to octal or decimal to binary? In decimal to binary, I will show you the slide. In decimal to binary, we divided it by 2, and in decimal to octal, we divided it by 8. Okay, now if you see, from decimal to hexadecimal, we are supposed to divide it by 16. Okay, so if you divide it by 16, okay, say 16 into 159 will result in 2544. Okay, but here it is 254, it will result in 2544, but it is 2545, so there is 1 remaining. Okay, similarly, so you keep the 1 as it is over here. Okay, now if I say divide again, 16, if I divide by 9, 159, it becomes 154. The remaining is 15. Keep it as it is. But we know that in hexadecimal there is no 15. 15 is equivalent to the value F, as I showed you. Okay, in the, and see here, in hexadecimal, 15 is nothing but F. So we have to represent it as F over here. Okay, so next, so 9 can further cannot be, 9 can never be divided again by 16. So keep the 9 as it is. Therefore, reading it in the reverse order, the hexadecimal number becomes 9F1 is the hexadecimal equivalent of 2545. This is how you convert decimal to hexadecimal. Given a decimal number, divide it by 16 continuously until you get a a number that cannot be further divided, and then read it in reverse. Okay, and then you get the value as 9F1, which is nothing but the equivalent of the decimal number 2545. Hope you guys understood that. We'll go to the next slide. Okay, now it's the reverse now. Okay, so we completed decimal to hexadecimal. Now we have to see how to convert hexadecimal to decimal. Okay, so to convert hexadecimal to a decimal, we have a hexadecimal number over here. So you remember how we did? I'll show you the previous slide. In the previous slide, did you see how did we convert from binary to decimal? To convert from binary to decimal, we multiplied each digit with the base 2 raised to its power and added all the all the answers that we got. So finally we get the decimal number. Similarly, we did that for octal also. We have an octal number. We did 2 into 8 power 0, 7 into 8 power 1, 1 into 8 power 2, and then we added each digits like that. So 2 plus 56 plus 64, we get the final answer. Okay, so similarly in hexadecimal 2, what we do, we have an hexadecimal number. A37E is an hexadecimal number. So if suppose I want to convert that into decimal, then take each digit, okay, and then multiply by 16 power 0, 16 power 1, 16 power 2, 16 power 3, and then you get actually a result which is nothing but a decimal number. Okay, then add finally all these things and you get a number, so which is nothing but a decimal equivalent to hexadecimal A37E. The same thing, I think you can do it by yourself, which is very easy format. We have done the other format is similar to that. Only thing is we'll have to multiply by 16 raised to its power. Okay, now so we'll see the final conversion, that is hexadecimal to binary. Very simple, as we did with octal. Here we did octal to binary. We took individual bits. Okay, we took individual bits, that I mean individual digits, that is 2 and 5, and converted that into its binary format, and then we attached it together. So finally we got our binary format number. So similarly we do the same thing with our hexadecimal number too. So we have an hexadecimal number, okay, which is nothing but 1, A, C, and 5. Okay, so we will represent each digit in its binary equivalent. Okay, so if you see in octal, I'll just go back. In octal, we represented this each digit with only 3 bits, because the maximum value that you could actually, the maximum number in octal can be represented using only 3 bits. That is the reason. Whereas in hexadecimal, we actually the maximum number is 15, the maximum digit is 15, and that we can represent this using 4 bits, that is 1111. So that is the reason, if you see in this current example where I'm trying to convert from hexadecimal to binary, each number is represented using 4 bits and not 3 bits. In octal we represent using 3 bits, whereas in hexadecimal we are representing it in 4 bits. And finally we attach, okay, all the the binary format of all the 4 digits of hexadecimal, and we get the final binary number. So this is how we actually convert hexadecimal number to binary number. Hope you guys understood that. Okay, having said that, we will move to the next important topic, which is called as binary arithmetic. Okay, so it is easy for you to do 7 plus 21, and it is very easy for you to do it. This is actually using decimal number system, which we have done here. Okay, so what I'm trying to teach you now is that how does the, see, first thing, one thing that you have to understand is that our computers doesn't understand decimal format. It only understands binary format. The only thing that our computer understands is zeros and ones and nothing else. It only understands zeros and ones. So though we can do 7 plus 21 using our brain, okay, which says it is 28, but the computer doesn't understand what is 7 or what is 8 and all that. So that is the reason we have to represent all these digits using binary. Okay, so as you can see, I have represented 7 using binary, which is nothing but 1 1 1. This is in binary format, and then 21 is in binary format. Okay, so these two has to be added. And how do we add this? We can add this using this table. Okay, so this is called as binary addition. Okay, so how do we add each bit? 0 plus 0 will give you a sum of 0 with a carry 0. So you will have to just look at this table very vividly and keep this table in your mind. Okay, so as you keep practicing, you need not actually by heart this table. This automatically comes and sits in your head, right? It gets embedded in your head once you practice this. So bit 0 plus bit 0 will result in bit 0 and with a carry of 0. Bit 0 plus bit 1, that is this. Okay, the bit 0 plus bit 1 will result in 1 with a carry of 0. So bit 1 plus bit 0 will result in a sum of 1 with a carry 0. And the last one, if I say 1 plus 1, bit 1 plus bit 1 will result in 0 with a carry of 1. Okay, so how this works, we'll just see here. Okay, now this says 1 plus 1, 1 plus 1. So how does this 1 plus 1 work? You see the table, 1 plus 1 says 0 with 1 carry. So the result is 0, okay, here with 1 carry over here. Okay, right, 1 carry over here. So now we have 1 plus 1 again, which is nothing but 1 plus 1 is 0 with 1 carry, again 0. It's here 1 plus 1 is 0 with 1 carry is already given over here. Okay, the result 0 plus 0 would be 0 again. Okay, now we'll come to this. Okay, 1 plus 1 is 0 with 1 carry, 0 plus 1 remains, that becomes 1. Okay, this one sits here and there is no carry over here, this one sits here, so this becomes your final result. Shall I repeat it once again so that you will be able to figure it out once again? I'll repeat it once again. Okay, 1 plus 1 is 0 with 1 carry, 1 plus 1 is again 1 plus 1 is 0 with 1 carry, so it is 1 plus 1, we get 0 with 1 carry, 0 plus 1 is 1, so 1 plus 0 is 1, and this 0 and 1 is 1. Yeah, now it's correct. Got it? So with a little more practice, if you can use this table and go through this, you'll be able to figure out. And this is the binary equivalent of 28. We have got this. So this is how our computers, will actually represent 28 in its memory. Okay, for us it is 28, but in binary format, it looks like this. So computer doesn't do 7 plus 21. Rather, computer would actually convert these numbers into binary and then do the binary addition using this table, and then finally give this answer to us. Okay, in the decimal format, of course, yes, in this format. Okay, hope you guys understood this format. Okay, it's just a matter of practice. Just keep practicing with other numbers, you will be able to figure it out. Now let me move to the next one. Okay, so let me move to the next one. The next one is binary arithmetic. In binary arithmetic, it is binary subtraction. Okay, so what does the binary subtraction say? Okay, 0 minus 0 is 0. With 0 borrow, you need not borrow. 1 minus 0 is 1, with 0 borrow. 1 minus 1 is 0, with 0 borrow. 0 minus 1 is, answer is 0, but you'll have to borrow 1. Okay, so that's what it says here. 0 minus 0 is 0. Okay, 0 1 cannot be possible. Okay, you'll have to borrow, so it is borrow. 10 minus of, that is borrow 10, it becomes binary 10, minus of 1 becomes, remaining is 1 over here, as you can see the borrow. Okay, 1 here. So because this, from this place you have borrowed, this becomes the 0 value. 0 minus 0 is 0, and 1 minus 1 is 0. So 12 in binary format minus with 10 in binary format will result in 2 value. This is how it is. If you have doubt, you can keep the last one as, in the last one you can keep it as 10 minus 1 is equal to 1. You can keep this in your, I will write it once again. If you have problem with the table, you can say 10 minus 1 is equal to 1, which has happened here. 10 minus 1 is 1. Okay, this is not 10, it's a binary borrowed. Once it has become borrowed, it becomes like this format. This is not 10 basically. Okay, so using this table, you can figure this out. You can solve such kind of problems, right? Now the problem of solving such kind of solving such kind of problems is easier when the first number is bigger than the second number. This kind of addition we have no problem to understand, it is quite straightforward, and subtraction also there is no problem to understand, that is also straightforward, provided if the first number is greater than the second number, you can use this table and then you can subtract and you can actually find the result. But the problem comes into picture only when the first number is lesser than the second number. That is, if it is something like this, 10 minus of 12. Okay, so the actual result should be in minus 2. Okay, right? So the problem comes in, it's not a problem basically, but yeah, so the difficulty comes into picture when you're trying to subtract a bigger number from a smaller number, and because the result that results in a negative number. So to represent negative number, you will have to follow some other method, which in our digital electronics we have a method called as complements. That is when we make use of something called as complements. Okay, so there is ones complement, twos complement, nines complement, tens complement. Okay, so I'm not discussing ones complement, twos. I'm not discussing nines complement, tens complement, because that is that is beyond the scope of this particular video. So what I will do is, I will teach you ones complement and twos complement, and I will also teach you how to represent these negative numbers using twos complement and ones complement, and I will also teach you how to subtract smaller number from bigger number using twos complement method, so that you will understand this binary notations very clearly. Okay, right, we'll get into the next slide. Okay, so what is ones complement method? Ones complement method is nothing but the reverse of the original binary value. If suppose I give a value as 0 1 1 0 1 1 1 0, okay, so the reverse of this becomes your ones complement number. Okay, so the ones complement of this number is this, right? This is ones complement method. You can do addition, subtraction, and represent negative numbers and all, use ones complement. We'll discuss that in some time. Okay, for now just understand how to figure out your ones complement method. So ones complement method is nothing but the reverse of the original, the reverse of the binary representation of the first number, and that becomes your ones complement. Okay, then what is twos complement method? 2's complement is that you have an original binary value, okay, you find the 1's complement of that, and adding 1 to that becomes your 2's complement. For example, 0 1 1 0 1 1 1 0, this is your original value. If suppose I apply a 1's complement to this becomes 1 0 0. You can see 0 becomes 1, 1 becomes 0, 1 becomes 0, 0 becomes 1, 1 becomes 0, 1 becomes 0, 1 becomes 0, and 0 becomes 1 over here. So this is basically 1's complement. Now I want to figure out what is 2's complement. If I add 1 to this 1's complement, that becomes 2's complement. You can see that I will add 1, I am adding 1 to the 1's complement of this number. Okay, so it is nothing but 1's complement of that number, 1's complement of this number. Okay, now I add 1 to this, 1 and 1 is 0 with 1 carry. According to our table that we studied, 1 plus 1, bit 1 plus bit 1 is equal to 0 with 1 carry. 1 plus 0 is 1, 0 0 1 1, the rest remains the same. So this is 2's complement number of this value. Okay, I'll repeat once again so that you understand clearly. Okay, you have an if suppose. Okay, now let me go back to the slide. What is 1's complement? The reverse of the original binary representation of a number becomes your 1's complement method, where 0 becomes 1, 1 becomes 0, and so on. Okay, similarly, then what is 2's complement method? Adding 1 to 1's complement method becomes your 2's complement method. Adding, I repeat once again, adding 1 to your 1's complement of the original number becomes your 2's complement. So you have your original binary value over here. I first find the 1's complement of that. That becomes the reverse of all these things. To this number, I have to add a 1. That is what I'm doing here. Okay, adding 1 to your 1's complement will give you the 2's complement method. Okay, and now understand that all computer systems represents negative numbers using 2's complement method. Okay, so it is very important, you must understand how to represent negative values using 2's complement method. Okay, so 1's complement is the reverse of the original number's binary value, and 2's complement is adding 1 to that 1's complement method will give you a 2's complement method. Having said that, let us move forward. Okay, now how do I represent negative numbers? Okay, now I'll show you how to represent negative numbers. Now assume there is one number 1. I want to represent the negative number of 1, which is nothing but -1. If suppose I want to represent -1, first thing that you got to do is, okay, represent 1. Okay, how do I represent 1? I'll make use of 8 bits. 0 0 0 0 0 0 0 1. This is nothing but 1. Now if suppose I want to represent -1 using 2's complement method, then how do I represent this using 2's complement method? First I have to find the 1's complement method of this. Okay, so what is the 1's complement method of this? Okay, it is, this becomes 0, remaining 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. This is your 1's complement method, 1's complement. Okay, this is 1's complement of 1. Now I want to find the 2's complement so that I can represent -1. Okay, so how do I find the 2's complement? Adding 1 to the 1's complement will result in 2's complement. So 0 plus 1 is 1. This 1 remains as it is. 1 1 1 1 1 1. Okay, so 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 is called as your 2's complement method. Representation of 1, 2's complement method. Okay, so this is equal to -1 in binary format. Okay, so this is -1. Similarly, so I'll repeat once again, how do I represent negative numbers? First keep the number as it is in binary format, then find the 1's complement of that, then add 1 to that 1's complement, then you will get the 2's complement, and this 2's complement is nothing but the negative value of that number. So this is -1. Now in the slide I will show you how to represent -2. Okay, now I want to represent 2 in binary. How do I represent -2? First keep 2 as it is. 0 0 0 0 0 0 1 0. Okay, this is 2. This is 2. Okay, now I want to represent minus 2. So for that, what is it I have to do? I have to first find the ones complement of this. So what is the ones complement of this? Okay, reverse of all this. 1 1 1 1 1 1 0 1. Okay, now this is the ones complement. Ones this is ones complement, right? Now if suppose I want to find the 2's complement, that is I want to represent minus 2. Minus 2 will be represented in 2's complement method. So how do I represent in 2's complement method? Add 1 to this, add 1 to the 1's complement. So 1 is what? 0 with 1 carry. So 0 plus 1 is 1, remaining will remain as it is. So this is nothing but minus 2 in 2's complement method. Okay, the same thing. Okay, this is 20. Okay, it says 2 to the power 0 is 1, and this is 16 plus 4. Yes, this is 16. This is 16, and this becomes 4. This is 20. So you find, if suppose I want to represent its negative value, then what will I do? I have to find the ones complement of this number, which is this, and to represent that in negative number, I add 1 toward the ones complement. I get the 2's complement of this number, which is nothing but minus 20. Okay, now I hope you understood how to represent negative numbers using 2's complement method. And all digital electronics available on any computers around the world will always represent all negative numbers using 2's complement method itself, because it is very easy to do using binary format. That is the thing. Okay, now having said that, we'll move to the next slide. What does the next slide say? Very important slide, very important. You guys have to carefully listen to it. Okay, so what is that I'm doing? I am now doing subtraction using ones complement method. I am doing subtraction using ones complement method. Okay, so how do I do subtraction using ones complement method? This is a very important topic. Listen to it carefully. Okay, there are two examples over here: bigger number minus smaller number, and then you have smaller number minus bigger number. In the first case, I am subtracting a smaller number from a bigger number, and in the second case, I'm subtracting a bigger number from a smaller number. And using which method? Using ones complement method. So how do I do that? Okay, so to subtract a smaller number from a bigger number using ones complement method, okay, what is it you have to do? Simple thing. First thing is, you have to keep the binary, you have to keep the first number as it is in binary. This is binary of 25. You have to keep the second number as it is in binary. This is the binary format of the second number. Then find the ones complement of the second number. You have to find the ones complement of the second number. Okay, so that you will get this number. This is the third number. You get this number. I'll call it as for now the third number. Okay, then once you get the ones complement, you have to add the first number and the third number. You will get the answer. Then take its carry and add it to the result. You will get the final answer, which is nothing but 6. Okay, so I will repeat the steps once again so that you understand it properly. It's very important to understand this. Anyways, when you're doing programming, you need not do all these things. The computer will do it for you. But it is always good as a programmer to understand how the system actually works internally, so that you will be in a better position to code things, right? Now, how do I subtract a smaller number from a bigger number using ones complement method? Keep the first number as it is in binary. Okay, this is 25. Keep the second number as it is in binary, which is nothing but 19. Okay, find the ones complement of the second number. Find the ones complement of the second number, which is nothing but this. This is ones complement. Ones complement of the second number, you get the third number. So then add the first number and the third number. Okay, you add these two and you will get a result, which is nothing but this number. Okay, once you get this result, take out this carry and add it to this result. Take the carry and add it to this result. You will get the final answer, which is nothing but 6. So I'll repeat once again how to do this. Keep the first number as it is in binary. Keep the second number as it is in binary. Find the ones complement of the second number. You will get the third number. Add the first number and the third number. You will get a result with a carry. Take that carry, add it to the result. You will get the final answer. All right. Now, if you have understood this, I'll go to the next one. How do I subtract a bigger number from a smaller number using ones complement method? Okay, very simple again. Okay, only thing is you'll have to pay attention to it. Okay, now I'll repeat the question once again. How do I subtract a bigger number from a smaller number using ones complement method? Okay, keep the first number as it is in binary, that is 9. Keep the second number as it is in binary, which is nothing but 13. Find the ones complement of the second number, you get the third number. This is ones complement. Find the ones complement of the second number, you get the third number. Okay, add the first number and the third number. Okay, you will get a result. Okay, again find the ones complement of that result, you will get the result. This is nothing but 4, but you can see that the answer is -4. If you get 4 here, it means the answer is right, it is -4. I'll repeat once again. I'll repeat the process once again so that you understand it more clearly. Okay, so how does this work? Now, if you want to subtract a bigger number from a smaller number using ones complement method, keep the first number as it is in binary. Okay, keep the second number as it is in binary. Okay, find the ones complement of the second number, you will get the third number. Okay, add the first number and the third number, you will get a result. This is the actual result, but if you want to know whether this is correct, you again do the reverse of this. You must get the positive sign of this, that is 4, and that would be your final answer. This is how you do the subtraction in using ones complement method. Okay, you can try out for various numbers, and I'm sure you will be able to figure out and use the same step for all the values, and you will see that this step works completely fine. Okay, having said that, we will move to the next slide. The next slide says, okay, now in the previous slide, if you see in the previous slide, it was subtraction using ones complement method. Okay, but now it is subtraction using twos complement method. Okay, so what happens in subtraction using twos complement method? In twos complement method, also you can do two things. Okay, that is, you can subtract a smaller number from a bigger number using twos complement method, and you can subtract a bigger number from a smaller number using twos complement method. Okay, now if suppose I want to subtract a smaller number from a bigger number using twos complement method, then first step, keep the first number as it is in binary, keep the second number as it is in binary. Okay, find the twos complement of the second number, you will get the third number. This is twos complement method. Okay, this is twos complement. Find the twos complement of the second number, you get the third number. Add the first number and the third number. Okay, you will get the result. Discard the carry, and that will be your result. I'll show you once again. I will explain you once again from first so that you understand it better. Okay, how do you do? If you want to subtract a smaller number from a bigger number using your twos complement method, then you have to follow this method. Keep the first number as it is in binary, that is 8. Keep the second number as it is in binary, that is 6. Okay, then find the twos complement of the second number. Okay, this is twos complement. This is twos complement method. Find the twos complement of the second number, you get the third number. So add the first number and the third number, you will get a result. Okay, so in this result, discard the carry not required, discard the carry, and you will get the value. This is how you do it. Okay, now second one. Okay, second one, how will you do the second one? Same way that we did for ones complement, only the only thing is that we have to now find the twos complement instead of ones complement. So how do I do? Now keep the first number as it is in binary, so it is 16
100
100
11
11, and the remaining is 000, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? So this becomes 2 power 1 is, this is 16 and 17, 18 and 19. Yeah, so this is 1, this is 2, and this is 16, where this becomes 4 and this becomes 8. So 16 plus 2 becomes 18 plus 1 is 19. Awesome. Okay, now this is your 19, then this is 19. Okay, now we'll have to minus 28. So where do we get 28? 28 becomes 16 plus 8 is 24 plus this. Am I right? Am I right? For 28, 16 plus 8 becomes 24. Okay, 24 plus 4
Right.
is 28, and this becomes thing. Okay, now how do I actually find the, how do I subtract 28 from 19 using 2's complement method? Very simple. Keep the first number as it is in binary, which I have done, which is 19. Next, you have to find out, okay, keep the second number as it is in binary, which I have done. I have kept it as it is. Okay. Now you have to find the 2's complement of 28. Okay. So what is 2's complement of 28? How do I figure out what is 2's complement of 28? How do I do it? I have to first find the 1's complement of 28 and then, so let me do it over here. The question is 19 minus 28, right? 19 minus of 28. Okay, so shall we represent 19 once again? Okay, how do I represent 19 once again? 0 0 0. Okay, I've written here 1 0 0 1 1 1 0 0 1 1. This is 19, and then 28 is nothing but 3 zeros, 3 ones, and 3 zeros, and 3 ones, and 0 0. Right? So how do I do that? This is 19. I've kept it as it is in binary. Keep the second number as it is in binary, which is nothing but, yes, I've done that. Now find the 2's complement of this number. Okay, how do I find the 2's complement of this number? First I have to find its 1 complement and then add 1 to it. Correct? No? Yeah. So 0 0 0 1 1 1 0 0. So this is the number 28. Okay, if I want to find the 2's complement, first I have to find the 1's complement, which is nothing but 1 1 1 0 0 0, and then 1 1. Correct? No? Right?
Yes.
So this is 1's complement of this. This is 1's complement of that. Okay, now I'll have to, if I want to find the 2's complement, what does it have to do now? I have to add 1 to this. Adding 1 to this, 1 1 will give you 0 with 1 carry. Okay, so 1 and 1 will give me 0 with 1 carry. Again, 1 plus 1 will give me 0 with 1 carry. So 1 plus 0 is 1, this 0, remaining 1 1 1. So this is my 2's complement of 28. This is 2's complement of 28. Okay, so keep the first number as it is in binary, keep the second number as it is in binary, find the 2's complement of the second number, which I get here, which is nothing but 1 1 1 0 0 1 0 0. Okay, then what I have to do? I have to add the first number and the third number. I have to add the first number and the third number, right? What do I get when I add the first number and the third number? 1 0 is 1, 1 0 is 1, 0 1 is 1, 0 0 is 0, 1 0 is 1, 1 1 1. Okay, now what I have to do is, yes, now this is actually the subtraction, but to figure out, okay, so how much is that we have to get? 19 minus 28, how much should we get? Minus 9, isn't it? Minus 9, right? So now to get minus 9, we have to again find the 2's complement of this number. Okay, so what is the 2's complement of this number? You have to first find the 1's complement of this. So let me put this here. Okay, 1 1 1 1 0 1 1 1. Okay, so then what is that I do? I actually to find out 1's complement of this number, first I have to convert this into 1's complement. 0 0 0 0 1 0 0 0. Okay, this is 1's complement, and then I add 1 to this. When I add 1 to this, 0 1 is 1. Okay, 0 0 1 0 0 0 0. How much is this? It is nothing but 9. So it means my answer is right. Okay, so it's a big calculation. Now let me put that into wordings. Hope you guys understood this. Okay, if not, I'll put that into a wording format so that you understand. Listen carefully. If suppose I want to subtract a bigger number from a bigger number from a smaller number using 2's complement method, then what is that you have to do? First thing, keep the first number in binary. Second one, keep the second number in binary. Okay, then what is the next thing I have to do? Third one. Okay, find 2's complement of, okay, second number, 2's complement of second number, and you will get third number. Okay, then fourth, add first number and third number, comma, you will get the result. You will get a result, right? So fifth step, find 2's complement of that result, and that will prove your answer is right. These are the steps. Hope you guys understood. Okay, so you can read it this once again if you wish. I can read it once again for you guys. Keep the first number as it is in binary, keep the second number as it is in binary, find the 2's complement of the second number and you will get the third number. Add the first number and the third number, you will get a result. Find the 2's complement of that result, and that will prove your answer is right. This is -9, not -6. This is -9. Okay, coming back to the slide. Okay, so hope you guys understood whatever I taught you now. Okay, so hope you guys enjoyed the session. So thank you so much. Thank you for attending. So we'll meet you in the next class. Take care. Bye-bye.